Hey everybody, welcome back to the Slimefun Tips and Tricks episode with your host Boomer. Today we are going to get the guns out. That's right, we are going to be comparing the biggest and the best that are across multiple add-ons. We're going to put Supreme up against Infinity Expansion, up against Dynatech, up against Core Slimefun, Gastronomicon, and there might even be something else included. We'll have to see. We're going to do 7 different comparisons of different levels and types of machines to try to see which one, at least would Boomer pick. You can choose whatever you want, but let's get going. All right, so right off the bat, we're going to fire up Supreme against Infinity Expansion against Core Slimefun. Now, why did I bring Core Slimefun into this? My gut tells me that the Ingot Factory 3 might be able to keep up. I'm not sure yet. We're going to find out. What we've done is we've put together a test here. We've got the level 1s going up against each other. We've got the level 2s going up against each other and the level 3s. Now, we've kind of changed this a little bit. So when I say level 1, I'm saying Core Slimefun's Electric Ingot Factory level 3 going up against Supreme's Forge Ingot. Okay? In level 2, we're going to compare the Forge Ingot level 2 up against the Infinity Ingot Former. And then we're going to take the Forge Ingot 3 up against Infinity Ingot Former. So we're going to start these one at a time. And as soon as I start the Cargo Manager, here's how this test will work once I place it. Each one of these chests or storage units has 10 million iron dust in it. What we're going to do is we're going to fire them up and watch and see which one of these ends up with more iron ingots than the other. As you can see, they're both starting at 0, so we have an even test. So if I remember right, I need to place the Cargo Manager here. And that should be the only one that started. All right. So what initially happened, and they're on different channels too, by the way. So what the Forge Ingot does, it's 32 dust yields 32 ingots. Now the challenge is it takes 10 seconds to complete. So not only are we going to look at speed, we're going to look at productivity. We're going to put both together to see what's the better value. Here with the Forge Ingot, it's 1-to-1. 1 dust gives you 1 ingot. Now same thing with Core Slimefun's Electric Ingot Factory. It's an even ratio. So let's take an initial look. Now you can see though this one is significantly faster. It's essentially 2 seconds per cycle. Whereas this one is actually going to be 11 because of the transfer, resetting of the machine. So right now we've got 32 plus 64. So this one's at 96. And I just broke the darn thing. It's okay. It'll hold. All right, and this one is at 32. So even with breaking it, it's okay. So we'll just give it a little bit longer here. I thought the Core Slimefun's Ingot Factory might be able to hold its ground, but this one's producing 32 every 10 seconds. Whereas this one every 10 seconds here, I believe, is producing 10. And that looks to be about right, because we're at 44 now versus 96 plus 64, 160. So that seems about right. All right, so just to stop that one, we're going to give it, and we're going to give round 1, the Forge Ingot from Supreme gets the victory. Let's do the same thing here with round 2. Now we're going to put Supreme up against Infinity Expansion. Let's see what happens here. So same thing. We know the Forge Ingot will take 32 dust. But it's a little bit faster here. You'll see now. It's about a 4-second cycle. So this one's cranking pretty good. Let's go over to Infinity Expansion and see what's going on here. Now this is where the downside comes into Infinity Expansion. It's pulling 8 dust to make 4 ingots. So you do lose on the dust. However, as you can see, the speed is much faster. So this is going to be, I got to go like really fast on this, right? Here we go. So, okay. 256. Ooh. All right, let's try this going the other way just to make sure we're being fair because there is some time difference, right, between transferring over. All right, 360 plus the 64. Ooh, you know what? They are really, really close. I bet you if we were to run this for an hour, I think we're just about a dead even heat, right? Let's try to do the math and see. Again, 32 are being produced approximately every 4 seconds. Well, I'm trying to do the math in my head, and it looks like 4 are being produced every second. But is this every 4 seconds? Let's kind of watch it from when it appears up top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's about 4. But yet, when we look at the quantity, so there's 64, so that's 800 plus 64. So this one is I think, is slightly in the lead. It's really close. All right, so then what's the determining factor? Which one do I want to craft? Well, you got to look at what's the cost. So if I go over into Supreme, we'll start there, and we'll go into the, let's see, where is it here? Forge Ingot. Okay, Forge Ingot 2. There's 2 centrists in there, so we're talking 2 cores. Actually, that one's 4 cores, and that one's 1. So we're talking about 5 cores. So there's a lot of time and material in it. Let's go back over to Infinity Expansion, and let's pull up the basic ingot former. So that's going to be Advanced Machines. It's going to be, here we go. So 6 electric ingot factory 2s. We know how painful machine cores can be, some machine circuits. I'm going to say they're almost dead even. So then the question is, where are you going from here? If you're going up to level 3, just based on this competition, I'd give the edge to Infinity Expansion because it's going to be cheaper at the 3rd level. Not by a lot, but in my opinion, it's cheaper. All right, let's shut that one down. Well, here's the final test. Let's just confirm. 1344 plus 1604 is 1408. Oh my gosh. Really? 1348 plus 64? 1412. 34. And so it's essentially, this one won by a fraction of a second, probably because this one might have been in cycle. So that's how close they were. We're going to call that one even. All right, this is going to go a lot faster. So we're on level 3. Again, same ratio. All right, 1, 2, 3. So about every 3 seconds, it's producing 32. This one is also producing 32, but at so fast a rate, you can't even see it hardly in the output. It is taking a stack of dust. It's making 32 ingots. But let's take a look at the supplies and see where we're at. So we're already, look at that. Over 2,000 already. Oh, and the winner by far is Infinity Expansion. Now, again, I talked about cost. Well, this one isn't, you're talking about, just like the Supremes are hard to get to. Real quick, we'll sneak at the recipes and then go to number 2. So if we go to the Infinity recipes and we go to the Infinity Ingot Former, you're talking somewhere around 54 Infinity Ingots. That's not an easy task, just like cores and Supreme are not an easy task. So they're both painful to craft, but if the pain is even, Infinity wins. Let's go to our next test. Alrighty, test number 2. 2 very interesting machines, the Foundry and the Resource Synthesizer. Both take 2 different items and combine them into one to give you a new item coming out. So in looking at the Foundry and looking at the Resource Synthesizer, the Foundry, you put your items in on the left. It tells you how the process and gives you your item on the right. Same thing here. 2 items go input. Okay, this is your timer, and here's your output. Now, we're not going to run those time by time. Instead, this comparison is a resource comparison. And one of these we'll have a clear victor here. So first, the 4 items that they both produce, one was a reinforced alloy ingot. The Foundry needs a full double chest of netherite and a chest of diamond to give you 64. The Resource Synthesizer uses 2,000 iron, 1,500 coal to make 32, so you got to double that. 4,000 iron, 3,000 coal to get 64 ingots. Which one in my mind? This is a no-brainer. This is the resource synthesizer. Here's why. You can turn diamonds into coal. Well, actually, in carbon, you can decompress them into coal. So even if you're producing the diamonds, you can get a whole lot more coal out of that than you can from one diamond. Not to mention netherite. You're pretty end game already if you're getting that much netherite because you're probably using infinity quarries or possibly supreme. In my mind, infinity expansion's up 1-0. All right. They both produce redstone alloy ingots. So, Foundry, again, double chest of redstone, chest of diamonds versus the resource synthesizer. You got to double it because it only produces 32. So 4,000 iron, 3,000 redstone. So redstone is pretty comparable. 4,000 iron versus 1,728 diamonds. It's a toss-up for the most part, but I'm going to give it to Infinity Expansion just because iron is so much easier to produce than diamonds, especially in the beginning. Until you're late game and you're using infinity quarries to produce 64 every 9 seconds or 10 seconds, I got to go with the resource synthesizer here as well. All right, 2-0 infinity expansion. Here we go. Blistering ingots. Let's take a look at this one. All right, Foundry. A double chest of emerald, a chest of gold ingots gives you a stack of blistering. And a resource synthesizer, 2,000 gold, 500 emeralds gives you 16 ingots. So you got to multiply by 4. 8,000 gold, 2,000 emerald, no brainer. Foundry, you win this one. Moving on. 2-1 infinity expansion. Photovoltaic cells. In my mind, both of these recipes suck. You lose a lot of material in the process, but you do save time. So, Foundry, double chest of quartz. Ouch. A chest of lead. Resource synthesizer, 2,000 iron and 1,500 quartz. No brainer. Resource synthesizer wins. It gives Infinity Expansion a 3-1 lead, and they're up 2 tests to nothing. All right, guys, so we've got through the first 2 of 7 tests. This is going to be a 3-part series. Parts 2 and 3 will be coming. Wow, hello. Parts 2 and 3 will be coming very quickly after this video. They might even release the same day. We'll see. I'm going to try to get them done. But anyways, guys, appreciate you watching. Thanks. And don't forget, when you're playing Slimefun, you got to go boomer or you got to go home. We'll be you later. Where do you go anyways? Where do you even come from? My gosh.